Hey, welcome everybody. Good to have everybody here and good to see you again. And tonight our topic will be gratitude and and you have to pay attention to the readings because they're on the theme of gratitude and that's what that'll start our discussion. So I'm just going to Santhra, I muted you because of the background noise. So the music and the readings are about gratitude, and so after that, the readings, um, let's have some discussion. What have we got to be grateful for, and how do we express gratitude? So just remembering to please keep yourself muted if you're not talking, and remember that the primary purpose, we're here to learn, not to convince anybody else, but we can change ourselves if we want to. And this is something we remind ourselves of. It's just one very effective way of creating unity, when we start with difference, and that is whether through deeds or words. The merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity, where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending peoples can coalesce. And this will be the topic we're talking about later. So we begin with honouring the Indigenous people, then we'll have the music and readings, and then we'll begin the discussion. So I'd just like to hand over to Tracy.
Okay, thank you. So we are taking the time to acknowledge that we are on the land of many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that in some parts of this nation have been acknowledging that they were created by God, by a higher power for over 65,000 years, 100,000 years. That's so many generations passing down the knowledge and experience of being accountable to a higher power and to live by gratitude. That their worldview was based on gratitude, that they were created and that they were part of a great web of life, which they respected and they cultivated in their descendants an awareness of the mutual obligations between all life that is shared in this universe. So we want to pay our respect to that remarkable achievement of being able to maintain that education for all those generations and to have a way of giving people an experience that they were part of something larger than themselves and to live by gratitude and respect. So we respect that and we respect the elders who've been able to do that in the past as well as the present. And we really also want to support the upcoming generations that they too can inherit that worldview. And that we also inherit it because we're living on this land and we act in respect to all life that's on this land. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And of course, that means we're reminded that we can be grateful that this land was looked after for so long and that we can enjoy it now. I've only put the chorus in because it's a kind of a rap song and there's maybe 1,000 words in it. But if you listen closely, or if you go to the actual link at a later time, you can see quite a nice video.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything
All
is a
that
gift.
I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Grateful for it
You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learn every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything
All
will feel
that I
gorgeous.
all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all,
Every day I sit and pray cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am,
Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
With Indra's well-beloved hosts, the blameless hastening to heaven, the sacrificer cries aloud, come from this place, O wanderer, or one downward from the light of heaven. Our songs of praise all yearn for this. Hindu writings, Rigveda.
Through how many ways and means of righteousness can man reach heaven? The Spirit of Wisdom replied, through various ways, like the first is charity, second, truth, third, gratitude or gratefulness, fourth, contentment, fifth, goodness towards the victorious, and friendliness towards all. Zoroastrian writings. Mino Ikerad.
the one who is grateful and kind, the friend who has firm devotion, respectfully does his duty. Therefore, he called a good person. Buddhist writing, Sarabhakatawa.
I will extol thee, O Lord, for you has raised me up, and has not suffered mine enemies to rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cry unto thee, and you didst hear me. O Lord, you brought us up my soul from the nether world. You didn't keep me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing praise unto the Lord, all thee good, his godly ones, and give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment, his favor is for a lifetime. Jewish writings, the Tanakh.
Then Jesus began to denounce the towns in which most of his miracles had been performed, because they did not repent. At that time, Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. Christian Writings, Matthew 11.
And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you. And be not divided among yourselves, and remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you. For ye were enemies, and he joined your hearts in love, so that by his grace ye became brethren. And ye were on the brink of the pit of fire, and he saved you from it. Thus doth Allah make his signs clear to you, that ye may be guided. Islamic Writings, the Quran.
Consider what a blessing are calamities when endured in the path of God. Were you to consider carefully, you would surely perceive that adversity in the path of one true God is abounding. Inasmuch as the most great name, the ancient beauty, may my life be a sacrifice for these loved ones, did himself endure a myriad afflictions. Now he hath granted that we, his lowly servants, may become his partners and associate in these trials and tribulations, each according to our capacity. Were one to judge with fairness, this suffering is worthy of gratitude, and these afflictions are not but manifold bestowals. Upon you be greetings and praise. Baha'i Writings, Abdul Baha.
Blessed is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city, and the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified, glorified, glorified.
is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city, and the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified, 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 and his praise glorified, 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 and his praise glorified, glorified, glorified.
Thank you very much to the readers. So those readings were on the theme of gratitude, and I suppose looked at gratitude from a few different angles, but we can just maybe start fresh and share whatever we're thinking. What does it mean? What do we have to be grateful for? Is it a feeling? Is it what we say if we're grateful for something? How does something we're grateful for compare with something we're not grateful for?
Now, looking at what is happening all around the world, we should be grateful that we are in this country.
Colin, did you make extra slides, or you just had those readings on grateful?
Just those 7 readings.
Oh, okay. So I wonder maybe you should put them up again or something.
Yeah, I can do that. It was interesting. It took me quite a few hours to to find readings from each religion on gratitude. Some were easy to find. Hinduism took a while. Indra, by the way, is, I looked it up, the god of weather. So I think something common to all the readings, which means all of the religions in this selection, is that there's praise, whether the word is gratitude or thanks or praise, they have a similar meaning.
There must be a story behind this, because to me it's ambiguous what it's talking about.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And I looked at the context and I couldn't find what was meant by the sacrificer. It wasn't in the passages before or after. But the Rig Veda, these are writings from maybe 3,000 years ago. So there's the idea of God, and there's a desire to praise, and a recognition of the things which come, well, in this case, come from the weather or come from the sky. I'll move to the next one. This is Zoroastrian. Through how many ways and means of righteousness can man reach heaven? And one of them is gratitude.
I guess gratitude towards God is very important.
Yeah, you mean gratitude for what
What we have,
receive?
well, our creation.
Yeah. Well, that's right. It helps if we're having a good life and not feel grateful if we're having a difficult life. Or it may need a special attitude to recognize that some sort of blessing in hardship.
Well, that's what the last reading was really highlighting, wasn't it? That, there is a blessing in trials and tribulations, which every single person goes through some challenges of some sort. It may come in different ways or at different stages in their life. For some, it's early in their life. For some, it's later in their life. And others, it's in the middle. And for some, it's the whole way through. But I suppose gratitude is a choice, that how we respond to circumstances, and part of studying religious texts is to understand that we're not unique when we going through difficulties or challenges or tribulations. It is, even God has gone through tribulations, everyone. And so do we surrender to self-pity, or do we learn empathy? And gratitude helps to sort of transform our response to the challenges that we go through, or that our family members go through. We sometimes recognize we only have a certain impact, and then it's out of our control.
Yeah.
So, sort of gratitude helps us to sort of surrender our need to control everything, or that it's going to be a certain way, certain expectations, and a response that God has a plan, and to trust in that as children do, as Jesus was talking about. Well, for some, it seems complete stupidity to just be grateful, but it's a more childlike response to sort of trust that there is a plan and there's a bigger picture than just my feeling or my circumstance. But there's a lot of rich material in those quotes, to help us cultivate that gratitude, which we absolutely need in today's world.
Yeah. So I guess you're talking about children. When you're very young, you might just be thinking, "Where's my dinner?" You might not be appreciating it as much, but later, usually it's a bit later in life, you appreciate all the things that your parents did for you.
From this quotation, I gather that Abdul-Baha is trying to say that all followers of different manifestations would share in the trials and tribulations of the manifestation, or similar trials and tribulations. And when you look at the history, we see that that followers of new manifestations have trials and tribulations.
Yeah. So It's interesting. If you're very hungry and then finally some food comes, or if you're thirsty and water comes, it's easy to express gratitude. You just feel it and it comes naturally. But with spiritual things, maybe we just it needs our spiritual senses to be awakened, and then we start to feel grateful for some of the deeper things which God is giving us.
Well, Abdullah says trials and tribulations are, afflictions that are to grow us spiritually. So once we grow spiritually, we recognize that gratitude, I think.
That's an interesting one, because if someone is on fire, you can't tell them that this is good for you in the long run. You've got to put out the fire and soothe them and heal them and sympathize. It's much better if we can have this realization of a bigger picture in our calm moments, so that we're ready for the next test. And talking about, just Tracy reminded me of in the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, which is a holy book for Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Baha'is, that there's the story of Job. This is not from the story of Job. I think this is one of the Psalms. But Job had the same attitude. He was tested with he had faith in God and he loved God, and then God gave him all these afflictions, one after the other, and his friends were telling him, why do you still believe in God? Why do you still have faith? And then the end of the book, he's wrestling with the whole issue, and then somehow, even though God doesn't give him the reason for each thing that he's been through, he somehow sees the bigger picture, that God is good, and that everything he does is good.
Yes.
I agree with Trish that it's hard sometimes to accept things when you are young. More or less, people accept the gratitude and what God has given them only at later stages in their life, I feel. I rarely see young people able to accept. There are a few people, I'm not saying no. And as Colin said, when somebody is in the fire, you don't just say, trust, it's for your good. And it's like, saying, you got to get them out and help them out. And by helping them, they come to realize that whether you're a religious person and you are doing it for the sake of the trust you have in the religion and all that. And then they learn the gratitude from that. Okay, this person, whether she was in 50s or 60, he or she, whatever, helped me. So I should be gratitude to her and start believing. So experiences at their young age helps them to believe in God and say, okay, the troubles come for us to learn. We are not whom we are now if we didn't have all these difficult times to learn, whatever it is. Whether even learning to driving a car or going through the year 12 or whatever it is, when the young age, we should be thankful that we had the experience or opportunity, well, either way you could say, to learn to become a person of this at this age, where we can be, grateful to God for giving us all those chances in life, I would say. So if you don't have the chance, you know how it's similar to what Colin said. When you have a tea bag, if you don't put it in the very hot water, you try to put the tea bag in a cold water, you don't get much flavor or taste or whatever out of the tea bag. So like that, we all like that. If you are put in the hot water only, then we come out as people whom we would be useful in the community or give God thanks for giving us this opportunity, I think. So we should be glad, give God the thankfulness for everything we have got so far, I feel.
Yeah, thank you, Marina. I see what you mean. Everything's a blessing. Sometimes it's a hidden blessing.
Sometimes it's very hidden.
Yeah, exactly. Jung.
In one of your prayer or writing, you mentioned about gratitude, exploring gratitude, got anything to do with charity, truth, gratefulness, contentment, and goodness. But in real life, a lot of people, they don't really have contentment to be gratitude to God or the government or anyone that give their help. Like the first is His Spirit of Wisdom reply. The first is charity, truth, gratitude, gratefulness, contentment, goodness towards victorious, and friendliness towards all. But unfortunately, in real life, people, they want more and more and more. They have no contentment. They got no idea about gratitude. They haven't been taught to. And they don't look at everyone as friendliness because competition there, especially business competition, commercial competition, the money involved, the dollars involved. So it's hard to be a righteousness when you also want to reach a heaven. So that's one thing. The second thing is people can sing the songs to praise to God. The more people suffering, that I understood that they will tend to go to God more often. Like if they suffer too much, they can't find a job, they become single, and they have difficult to feed the children, then they turn up to the church or the Buddhist temple to ask for help. So they close to the God. So there therefore the what you call gratitude there is important because with gratitude to God because He created difficulties, or we ourselves create difficulties, so we can get drawn close to the God. We pray more, we do confession more, we feel sorry, we do repentance, we do all sort of things. We do, so God can forgive people. So that is two things that people should be looking into it. I mean, if everybody dance every night, have wine, go out, fast car, fast lane, dollars, scam, how are they going to be gratitude? And they don't get drawn close to God anyway.
Good point. Unless, of course, they hurt themselves while they're drunk and then later on have a wake-up call, then they might be grateful. Thank you. Ahmed.
It's interesting that, the translation of Minur Khrad means paradise of wisdom in Persian. Of course, Zoroaster came in Iran, in Persia in all times. And there's so much beautiful things in the Zoroastrian writings that help human attributes like charity, truthfulness, gratitude, gratefulness, contentment, goodness towards the victorious, and friendliness towards all. So I would say gratitude, like all other human attributes, are important in the sight of God. And if one presents it, God will be happy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that all of these scriptures, even from thousands of years ago, seem to talk in the same voice on spiritual matters.
And Baha'u'llah has got a tablet of words of wisdom, which presents all these attributes in there.
Mm. Katrine, yes.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I liked the song at the very beginning, the rap song,
Yeah.
which had these very simple words, but saying everything is a gift. And of course, as believers, we believe everything is a gift of God. But somehow I feel we have been gifted with like physical senses. You know, we see, we eat. For example, we eat something. It's very physical, but at the same time, we have been gifted as well with spiritual senses, which makes us, you know, like a good food. Food, for example, we take it as a nutritious and so on, but we can only also feel gratitude. And then the dimension of gratitude is of, you know, how we, I can't find my words very easily, but is so much more deep, you know. And it's the same thing for, so that word which was in that song, everything is a gift. So if we don't have those spiritual senses open, if we look at things only intellectually or externally, but not with heart and, you know, deep heart, then we cannot really feel gratitude. We can't see as a gift from someone we call God or someone we call, you know, something above everything. Yeah, so anyway, that's my little reflection about gratitude. Yeah.
Thank you, Katrine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our first thing we can be grateful for is our physical senses and capacities, which we have in common with animals, but then when we go a bit deeper, we're capable of appreciating, maybe empathizing with other people and developing deeper qualities.
Can I add something here? Sorry, Tracy. That Baha'u'llah says in the Holy Book that the first thing one has to do is recognition of the manifestation of God of the time. And then he says that once you recognize, follow his laws and rules, and then be grateful to God that they have recognized the manifestation of God. So grateful can come in there, saying, of recognizing our manifestations of God.
Just to comment on that, yes, and some people or some religious beliefs think that the law side of things isn't anything particularly to be grateful for, but I think whatever social laws or spiritual laws God gives us, they have to be a good thing. I mean, even if they're just like a handrail which stops us going over a cliff, it's still something to be grateful for. Tracy, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just sort of, that even gratitude is like nourishment for our soul. That just that in itself just helps us to cultivate that heart and cultivate our spirit and be nourished, which then helps us to become more aware. Gratitude builds to become more, that helps us to be aware of more things to be grateful for. You know?
So it's like a cycle. It's not just that we should wait to recognize something to be grateful for and then feel grateful. We can actually consciously start thinking about it and feeling grateful, and that, I guess, it's like a reinforcing cycle.
I think it's also like a chain breaker, that when we're sort of becoming negative or focusing on certain things, if you just stop and focus on being grateful. We've got a bird, the butcher bird around here sings out morning and night, the sound that is exactly the same as thank you, which is like a reminder. Thank you. You know, and it just puts us back, you know, on it's just the right way to be. That's who our true self is and can be, you know. But yeah.
So we can actually, it's not like our situation's hopeless and we're just, as humans, we're just incorrigibly selfish. We can actually change through the power of our thoughts and our choice of what we choose to think about, maybe first thing in the morning or at any time. If we're thinking in a quiet place, we can change a thought of hate into a thought of love, a thought of selfishness into a thought of gratitude. So we have some agency in our own spiritual growth.
Yes.
Ahmed.
I just wanted to say something following to what Tracy said. I had a beautiful experience today. I normally catch the train to work and come back. And when I was coming back, our train would end at Gordon, where I live. And the, I think it's assistant or conductor of the train that turns the doors open and off, or announces things. She started announcing beautiful things about life and being pleasant to have you with our train and sort of lovely things. And I was so grateful. I was so happy of what she was saying. And eventually said, hope you have a beautiful night. And it was about 5 o'clock daylight. So I guess we could recognize gratitude by other people presenting themselves in a proper manner or in a pleasant way. So it would be nice to attach gratefulness to pleasant behavior.
Yeah, I think everyone likes it when someone changes disrupts the normal pattern of being on public transport, where you just got to wherever you look, there's someone's eyes, but you've got to avoid eye contact. So, I mean, we can be grateful that we've got mobile phones now, so we've got something to look at. But I think we'll be even more grateful when we can. When we don't have so many barriers stopping us from just saying hello to people. Katrine, but you're muted.
Also saying thank you to people, you know, even strangers. For example, like I do something when a car stops to let me cross the road, then giving a little sign of thank you. And then sometimes they return back and then say, do a nice friendly gesture. And I think also one time, for example, I had only very little shopping and at the Aldi, and the person in front of me said, "Okay, you can go before me." Yeah. And then I did a very big thank you, you know, like, because it was quite, I took it as a very, you know, amazing, outstanding gesture. So, and I even said, "Oh, you've done your good deed of the day." And I feel when people do like this, when we do thank profusely, you know, it inspires as well other people to do that. And so just creating little positive things to happen in our, you know, in our everyday world. Yeah.
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 So that it doesn't have to be a big thing. Just
Yeah.
saying thank you with a smile.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
More people doing that, the better the world is.
I think so, yeah.
It makes your life easier if there's more thanks and less complaints.
Yes.
It's easier to do more for someone when they're thankful than if you just get complaints back to continue.
Yeah, exactly. And the same with people just doing their job. They're still people, and it can help to be appreciative. Let's see what other one. Oh, that's the 10 there. I'll read this one. Then Jesus began to denounce the towns in which most of his miracles had been performed, because they did not repent. At that time, Jesus said, "I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do." What does that mean?
Well, I think that he means very similar thing to what Baha'u'llah has said, that the power has taken away from the rulers and clergy in this time, that, you know, learned and wise not really always know how to have a spirit of faith. So by little children, he means people of very common standard. I mean, Peter was a fisherman, and he became the center of the faith. I think it's similar. They say that the wise and the learned not necessarily would have the spirit of faith. Spirit of faith can be with, you know, very common people.
So if someone's wise or learned or even wealthy, is that a barrier, an insurmountable barrier for them?
Yeah, it is a barrier. But there are some wise and learned people that have, you know, empowered the faith of all different faiths.
Mm. Yeah,
In Baha'i faith, for example, we have Sayyid Shahada and the two brothers, and that were very wealthy, and they the mullahs took their wealth and executed them just because they wanted their wealth. But they were very, very wealthy, but they had the spirit of faith. They recognized the Bab.
Yeah. Yeah.
According to what I understand, the wise and learned, they supposed to know better, don't they? I mean, if they have more wisdom and knowledge and experience, shouldn't they recognize the writing and they're supposed to be knowing better? But actually, they did not see the thing that they should see. And Lord of heaven and earth probably expect more from them in a spiritual way. And talk about the things that reveals them to little children. The children could not much have things to repent or remorse from, because children are just white papers and they were born as angels and say so they're already angels. So Jesus always think the children is, easy to teach, and because they're angels, they could see everything already, and they don't not much have thing to cry about or to repent. They did not have time to create sins. So that's that. I mean, that all encompassed in all these paragraphs.
Thank you, Yong. And I also wonder if even if you're wise and learned or are in charge of a city, you can still be like a little child, hopefully, still be receptive. Tracy.
Sometimes the really wise realize that how little they know. And, it's the old, there's an old Buddhist story about the professor who went to visit the Buddhist monk down the road. And the monk said, "Oh, would you like some tea?" He said, "Oh, yes, please." So he brought the cups out and the teapot, and he started pouring the tea and kept pouring. The cup was completely filled and it was spilling into the saucer. And finally, the professor couldn't take it. He said, "Stop, it's already full." And the monk said, "Well, you're full of yourself."
Right.
There's no room for what I want, even though you say you've come to visit, but there's no room within you. So there's that aspect that, that to be always that open, that there's more than what any of us know. God, you can't put God into a box. God is bigger than anything that we currently know. And children are just so enthusiastic about everything.
Yeah.
Their curiosity, they want to, we've got a few chickens where we are, and we had grandkids come and stay last week, and they're so enthusiastic about the chickens and where they might go and whether they can pick them up and pat them. That's the nature of children, of that curiosity and engagement with life, that it's easier to sort of, that allows them to be given to more. But it's also the other aspect is, yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. That it is always about what is God wanting to do.
Yeah.
Not what we are and what we've, learned, but what's God doing? What's God's plan? And how we engaging with it. Because God's always got new plans to unfold, with sort of trees and things are always growing. God's always revealing more of, that the sort of the blueprint in a way. And so it's that sort of, it pleased God to do that, to please God to give to those who are open, childlike. So I suppose the other side of the coin is, if we want to make pleasing God one of our goals in life, to be childlike, curious, hungry for more, not what God was doing thousands of years ago only, or 100 years ago, or what God doing today. Now,
Yeah.
How can, and everywhere in the world and with all people, not just some special people, but everyone. So anyway, that's what that's sort of some of the things that struck me in this quote. Yep. And I'm working on being more childlike.
All right. Yeah, and that just reminded me when I was growing up, my mum volunteered once a week. She was a music teacher, so she played music at what was called Westfield Subnormal Children. It would now be called Special Needs, I think. But I went there one day, and as soon as I opened the door, there was just all these beaming faces running to welcome me. And they all had disabilities of one sort or another. But really, I couldn't have felt better because there was all this joy and a feeling of being welcome. They were just very innocent and very happy. And it seems to me that that's what God is doing now, is that he's making himself known through people, through all people, potentially. We can, everyone we meet, we can see the face of God to some extent in that person.
Can I say something else on this? I think pleasure of God is so important, and if we obtain pleasure of God, we get tranquility. So I guess it's here, the last line. Sorry, of the one.
On the previous one, yeah.
Yeah, Father, for this, what you were pleased to do. So it's the pleasure of God, and if we achieve that, we will be very tranquil.
Mm. And as Tracy was saying, if we're focusing on God and his plan, I think his plan is actually good for us, better than our own plans. So there's another bonus of focusing on God's plan.
I don't think God has plan all the time, because like normally when you healthy, you walk with your own 2 feet. But if you fall down and you could not walk, God will carry you. So actually it's not in his pre-plan. He just follow you because he want to help you, and if you need help, he will be there to help you. So that's more like ad hoc help. So it's not planned, unplanned.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense as well. He's given us sort of arms and legs and a mind, so we can actually do things. But as long as we don't forget, when we're doing really well at doing things, we don't forget that he gave us those gifts. I'll read this one from the Quran. Oops, wrong one. And hold fast altogether by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided among yourselves. And remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you, for you were enemies and he joined your hearts in love, so that by his grace you became brethren, and you were on the brink of the pit of fire, and he saved you from it. Thus doth Allah make his signs clear to you, that ye may be guided.
I think the rope here is the metaphor of the faith. And, faiths of different manifestations bring various people together and unite them. So he's saying the same thing.
Yeah. God's given us a rep. We should all hang on to it. It might be the faith, or it might be the laws, the social laws. From the presentations we've had from Professor Harlem Rain and other presentations from the Islamic perspective, I can see that Muhammad and the Quran was something the world should be grateful for, because before that, it was really just whichever group was the strongest. But Muhammad introduced a constitution for Medina, and the idea of treaties and how to uphold a treaty and how to respect it, so that we could have peaceful relationships with neighboring communities. And that extended indirectly to the way nations relate to each other.
Although people attribute wars and criminal things to different religions, but if you look at the other side of it, it's uniting people and bringing love in the hearts. So you have to look at that side rather than the criminality that people use the faiths to do their own things.
I'm just reminded of a story, and I think I've got it here. It was from a previous presentation. Well, let's keep discussing, and if I can find the story, I'll share it.
Also, in our discussion, the presentation, the psychologist from India made, the doctor, she was asking us to write the gratitude every day to 5 or 6 things that we are grateful about. That is good for our mental health.
She encouraged us to make a gratitude jar, didn't she?
Yeah.
I think gratefulness causes happiness inside each human being. So I think it's a good thing.
We always think what is not happening to us or sad about things, but we don't complain. We don't always complaining, but we don't realize the good things that we are blessed with.
Yeah, I agree, Vasanta. We got to basically be happy to accept that every morning we wake up, to be thankful that we woke up. And one of the other things I first do in the morning is, before I start my day, my prayer starts. Like basically I would like, of course I'll have a cup of tea and then I'll start praying. But just saying, God, walk in front of me. And that's the only way we can be able to lead our life and be happy. If we try to compare with others and not happy with everything, we are never going to be happy in life. Just be happy for small things in life, small things. Like, waking up in the morning, or, just there's no sunlight, or I couldn't dry the clothes. That's a bit of whinging. At least we are in a country where we can see this, not dark, like we can see even on a cloudy day, like, today we had sunlight in Sydney. But either way, even those small things. Okay, I saw sun for about, there are countries where they don't see the sunlight for not even half an hour a day. And we should be thankful only we had about the sunlight during the summer, I mean, not summer, sorry, during the winter time. So we should be just be happy to say thankful to each small things in life. You know, comparing with others, we are not going to get anywhere. I mean, you know, comparing is not a good thing in life. Whatever you reap, you can reap. That's your limit. God has told that you can have only this much in life. You cannot have 5, mansions in near the water or whatever. I mean, I don't have one even, but I'm just saying like that. We can't compare with others. Just be happy with what you have. That's all I lead my life day to day, and say, God, walk in front of me.
I think for sure, we should need God walk in front of us, but we also need 2 guardian angels behind us, one on the right and one on the left, because most of the attack, as you read on the media, they happen from behind.
Yes, but if what about Jung? If God walks in front, the person at the back cannot do that. I don't disagree that there shouldn't be angels on the side, but I think just asking God to walk. I never have asked angels to be walking by the side of me. I just say, God, clear the way and walk in front of me. That's all. For me to be able to lead, and for my family or extended, whoever you want to pray of.
I thought each person got a guardian angel was assigned to each person when they were born, especially if they get baptized. So if you want to get a guardian angel, then you should be baptized then.
Yeah. Everyone, when they are baptized, you do get an angel. I agree with you.
But I mean, maybe God just expand that rules that everyone got a guardian angel whether they baptized or not. You know?
I think the guardian angel is from the Christian belief.
In Baha'i faith, we have a group of spirits. We call them the Kankus on high, which means the spirits that have passed from this earth, so they were so pure that God would allow them to help humanity. So the Kankus on high are always helping individuals in the world, in the world of living here. So obviously those are the angels.
That's in the
Baha'i writings.
Baha'i writings, okay. So didn't know that. Yep, okay.
But it probably means something similar to angels, I guess.
I'm thinking that, so I'm thinking too, yes.
Yeah. I found the story. So this is kind of gratitude for a very simple gift. And this is a story about Baha'u'llah. So Baha'u'llah, I'm reading it from where I found it. Baha'u'llah often rode his horse over the hills outside the city. And one day he came upon a hermit who lived by himself in a cave in the mountains. When the hermit saw Baha'u'llah, he knelt at his feet and said, "O my Lord, I am a poor man living alone in a cave nearby, but I shall be the happiest man if thou wilt come for a moment to my cave and bless it by thy presence." Baha'u'llah felt a great love for the poor hermit and followed him to his cave and spent all day talking with him. When evening came, the hermit began to worry because he did not have any fine food to give Baha'u'llah. At last he told Baha'u'llah what was troubling him. Baha'u'llah told him not to worry, but to bring whatever food he had. The man fetched a little dry meat, some black barley bread, and water from a nearby spring. They enjoyed this simple meal together. Baha'u'llah loved the hermit so much he stayed 3 days in that cave in the rocks. At the end of the 3 days, he said that he had never felt so comfortable and welcomed before, even though there were no chairs or even a bed to sleep on. As for the hermit, he was so happy being with Baha'u'llah that he thought the food tasted more delicious than anything he had ever eaten. So that's it's just something we can be grateful for having, for being what we would call uncomfortable and unsatisfactory. Was a wonderful spiritual experience for both of them.
That reminds me of a quotation that Baha'u'llah has said in Hidden Words about, I'm paraphrasing it because I don't remember the whole writings, that's like, what was it I was going to say? Companionship of the righteous brings joy to the heart. That's what he's paraphrasing. So obviously that person was very spiritual, that Baha'u'llah enjoyed, and he enjoyed Baha'u'llah's companionship.
It shows you the transformation of love.
Yeah, yeah. I was once, we had some friends, some Christian friends for dinner, Jung and I, and I thought, let's, why don't we talk about God? And our friend said, well, Jesus says God is love. That's all we need to know. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a bit of a conversation stopper. She's right. What more can we say? But I think now, if I had a thought, if I had to slow down a bit, I would have said, oh, what a great concept. How does God show his love? How do we know God by his love? What sort of things does he give us we can be grateful for? Anyway, that's a conversation which I missed the opportunity.
Can I just say, sorry, go ahead, yeah?
No, I was just going to just make that point, that to say that God is love, in a sense, it makes him more tangible. Yeah, Marina.
I was just saying what you read about the hermit and the Baha'u'llah. I'm just saying, it's the way I take it, Colin. It's the way you love and share with anyone. It can be a small creature. It can be anyone in the world who has nothing in their life. Or there could be someone who has no belief in God, right? But it's the way we treat others and go to their place and accept the things and be happy to spend, like, Baha'u'llah, instead of waiting for one day or one night or whatever, waited for 3 days, I think, if my memory is right. So it's basically showing that how we should be good to others. It doesn't matter whether they're religious or don't believe, but we talk to them and show the love. That's all lives. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel.
No, that makes sense to me, because we don't have to we don't have to be expecting something for ourselves. We don't have to be expecting to change the person or have some sort of agenda, just to appreciate another person.
Right, that's what I meant. Yeah, appreciate the other person. Thanks.
Getting back to right at the beginning, we were talking about when someone's really in the middle of some physical test. It's interesting that when you read the stories of, like, there was one Australian lady who was on this double-decker bus in London when a bomb blew it up, and she lost her legs, and obviously that was horrible, and she had to go through rehabilitation, and it's a terrible thing to happen, and no one would make it happen or cause it to. I'd much rather God's tests be that a feeling, a wake-up feeling, instead of something so dramatic. And yet, when she told her story, she said that her life was better afterwards. So that she said she wouldn't have had it any other way. It was worth it. She was basically saying, and I've read that same thing from other kinds of disasters people have had. Which is not to say that we should be looking for disasters, but somehow God can make things right. Well, would anyone like to say anything before we wrap up? Uatiti.
Yes, I haven't said anything.
Oh, I was just going to say, Uatiti, a few meetings ago, we were going to exchange email address or something, because are you able to share your email address with me on the chat or something like that? If you're still there. Anyway, look, I'll find you on Facebook. That's all right. No problem.
Sarah is here as well.
There's a lot of people, they're not on Facebook, you see.
I think I already made friends with Uatiti on Facebook.
They might be on Twitter.
Yeah. There's too many apps out there.
And too many apps.
Yeah, when you wake up in the morning, you haven't got time to check all of them. Facebook. I've even about a week ago, I took Facebook and YouTube off my homepage. They're still in there on my phone, but I've saved myself half an hour every morning. I can actually get out of bed, bounce out of bed instead of losing the energy scrolling through, looking at funny videos.
The problem goes when you say happy birthday, and then you have to say happy birthday in every one of those apps for a person.
Oh, yeah.
And next week we have a speaker, but she will be coming only around 7:30, 7:40. So we have to find something maybe like this discussion until she joins us later.
Yeah, I had to apologize for next week because I have a medical training at the same time, and it's quite important. So I will have no opportunity to attend a talk next week.
We will miss you, Jim.
Yeah, or medical training. Thank you.
All right. Well, look, thank you very much. I think I got a lot out of the discussion. So thank you.